Jonathan Macri of Knicks Film School is with us now to talk about Thibodeau's departure from the Knicks. Now, John, I've seen a lot of the fan base very split on this. Do you think the calls were truly that vocal for Tom Thibodeau to lose his job?
I don't. I tend to think when it comes to this stuff that the people who want the most extreme measure, which in this case was Thibodeau to be fired, I think they're the loudest. You know, it's the social media age in which we live. I think the vast majority of fans definitely questioned whether Thibodeau was still the right man for the job and that they would have been okay with him coming back. They would have been okay with him obviously not coming back, which is the case. What I did not sense is any kind of overwhelming support within the fan base that you had to bring him back based on the playoffs that we just witnessed. And honestly, based on what was a fairly tumultuous regular season, even though they did win 51 games.
Which is ironic considering you hear all the support from Jalen Brunson as the season ends. So how do you think Knicks fans ultimately should then look back on this era underneath Tibbs?
Without question, a feeling of gratitude, and I would even go so far as to say admiration. Look, there have been Hall of Fame coaches that have come through this franchise, former Coach of the Year award winners, former NBA champions. Many of them, most of them, fell flat on their face in this job because of the unique pressures that come with coaching in this city for this franchise. One postseason series victory in the 2 decades before Tibbs arrived. He has 4 on his resume now for the Knicks. And more than anything, you know, this franchise was a laughingstock before he got here. And in really no time at all, he turned them into one of the most respectable organizations in the NBA. I think he deserves nothing but credit from the fan base for those accomplishments.
Laid the foundation, and now this is a job that's highly coveted. So with that said, who's on your wish list?
Yeah, so my wish list might surprise some folks because the one name that I don't have on it is Johnny Bryant. I think given this situation, given the pressure that is on this team right now, I'm not sure that a first-time coach, someone who doesn't have NBA head coaching experience, is the right person for the job, even in Bryant's case, someone who's obviously been with the organization. So I have Jason Kidd, obviously been to a finals a year ago, has experience with Jalen Brunson and knows how to run a really strong offense, which they're looking for. And then the second guy I have here is Taylor Jenkins, let go by Memphis late in the year. I think the benefit to him, he ran a very deep rotation, which is something I know a lot of Knicks fans have complained about Tibbs didn't do. And also he's shown the ability to be amenable with a front office, work with the front office, and I think that's something that the front office would very much like in the wake of Tibbs' departure. And then the last name I think fans might be a little bit surprised to see is Frank Vogel. Not the sexiest name for sure, won a championship, and he did it in L.A., which you could argue is maybe the only organization in the league that's more of a circus sometimes than playing here in the Big Apple. So I think he would be well-suited to the job for that reason.
Does the construction of the current roster affect the head coaching search, in your opinion, at all?
It has to. I think one of the primary complaints about Tom Thibodeau is he never got the most out of the talent he had, and specifically out of Karl Anthony Towns on the offensive end. So I think you have to look at what does the new coach have planned for Towns, have planned for the offense as a whole. You know, Mikal Bridges, was he happy with his role in the offense? We don't know. But at the same time, ultimately, this franchise or this team lost because of defense against the Indiana Pacers. So does the new coach have an idea for, hey, if we have Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns on the floor together, how are we going to build a serviceable defense around those two components?
Jonathan Macri, thanks so much for hopping on Honda Sports Night.
Appreciate it.